Buddhism, the definition. You may wonder why this topic is chosen. The reason is simply because even some veteran Buddhists in both China and Tibet do not know the real meaning and the scope of Buddhism. Other than the monastics, most farmers and nomads in Tibet think that to be able to help build a stupa or a magnificent temple from time to time, or to recite the 6-word mantra of Avalokitesvara will make them good enough Buddhists. But all these are just doing good deeds, not learning or practicing the Dharma. So further explanation about Buddhism is certainly necessary. The incorrect definition of Buddhism. Some regard Buddhism as a kind of belief. Belief also means faith. Of course, faith is needed in Buddhism, but it would be oversimplified to regard Buddhism as a belief, since keeping faith is only one of the aspects of Buddhism. The foundation and the priority of Buddhism are not about belief, but wisdom and compassion. Although Buddhism does advocate the importance of faith, it is not unique to Buddhism. Science also calls for faith. For example, people today all want to promote faith in science. If one does not trust science, one probably would not even dare to take airplane. People take planes because they believe in the technology that allows airplane to transport people to their destinations. It takes faith to accomplish anything in this world, the same kind of faith as in Buddhism. Therefore, it is incorrect to equate Buddhism with belief. Is Buddhism a kind of philosophy? No. There are Eastern, Western, and other types of philosophy. Some of them may enunciate certain thoughts that are similar to that of Buddhism, but their analyses never go as deep. Hence, Buddhism is not a branch of philosophy. Is it science? Certain views of Buddhism and some findings of science may be the same, but Buddhism as a whole is not science. Could it be idealism? Many people consider religion idealism. It may be the case in terms of Western religions, as most philosophers in the West are idealists, albeit holding different philosophical positions. They simply identify religion as a category of idealism as well. However, Buddhist thought and idealism are completely different. Among the 4 schools of Buddhism, Sarvastivada and Sautrantika did not maintain any idealistic viewpoints at all. Neither did the Madhyamaka, middle way, school of the Mahayana tradition. The Yogacara, consciousness only, school of Mahayana had a number of sects. Of those, only one posited a small portion of its views that was somewhat similar to that of idealism. For example, part of the views of Berkeley's subjective idealism appears to be similar to the central teaching of Yogacara that phenomena exist only as a process of mind. Russell, in the first chapter, Appearance and Reality, of the Problems of Philosophy, also analyzed Berkeley's viewpoints, but found complete refutation of which rather difficult. Still, idealism never quite matches Yogacara in its profundity. Aside from this, no other similarity can be identified between idealism and Buddhism. Actually, part of idealism, Christianity, ancient Indian religions, and other kinds of faith all share certain common views with Buddhism, but that does not mean they are identical as a whole. Buddhism and idealism are fundamentally different despite their partial similarity. The differences are even greater from an overall perspective. Hence, to regard religion as idealism is purely an opinion of the West, with which Buddhism does not identify. To illustrate further, Chandrakirti's introduction to the Middle Way, the epitome of Mahayana teaching, holds that both mental and physical phenomena exist from the point of view of the relative truth, and neither exists in terms of the ultimate truth. Both are empty of self-nature. Rather than the physical phenomena have no independent existence, but the mental phenomena do. Furthermore, Chandrakirti explained that this is the view of the Buddha, Because in Abhidharma Kosa Shastra, the Buddha had inquired extensively into the existence of mental and physical phenomena from the perspective of the relative truth, and subsequently refuted the existence of both when enunciating Prajnaparamita. In other words, both exist if existence is affirmed, and vice versa if it is refuted. This is Chandrakirti's point. On the other hand, the view of the Nyingma tradition can be summed up in Longchenpa's words. External phenomena are not mind, only the illusory manifestations of mind. From what I know about idealism, I can say with full confidence that to equate Buddhism with idealism is very wrong, as their views differ quite substantially. Actually, no one really thinks of Buddhism as idealism, only that religion in general is viewed as such, which in the case of Western religion is not incorrect. In summary, Buddhism is not idealism because it does not deem the ultimate nature of reality is based on mind or mental phenomena. Neither is it materialism, as it does not consider the ultimate nature of reality is based on physical phenomena. Is Buddhism a religion? The word religion came from the West. If defining Buddhism by way of the meaning of religion, Buddhism cannot be deemed exactly a religion, as the word religion connotes the recognition of a supernatural power or powers as the creator and governor of the universe, which Buddhism dissents. Some in the West do not see Buddhism as religion because of this. Those learned and respectable Buddhist practitioners in the past also held the same opinion. I too do not see Buddhism fit the Western definition of religion, as Buddhism has never acknowledged the existence of the creator. Then, what exactly is Buddhism? Buddhism actually means Buddhist studies, a subject taught and transmitted by the Buddha, or a way through which ordinary people can learn to reach Buddhahood. In the scriptures, Buddhism is defined by the two words doctrine and realization. Doctrine refers to the teachings transmitted by the Buddha himself, or the commentaries on canonical texts and other treatises written by the bodhisattvas after the Buddha gave his blessing and approval, such as the Tibetan Buddhist canon of Kangyur, the translation of the word, and Tengyur, translation of treatises. Realization refers to personal realization gained through practice, which encompasses discipline, meditation, and wisdom. In other words, doctrine and realization stand for the whole of Buddha Dharma. Two other words, even more significant, can also summarize the full meaning of the Dharma, that is, compassion and wisdom, which will serve as the cornerstone of our discussion on Buddhism here. All Buddhist teachings, be they Mahayana or Theravada, exoteric or esoteric, can be summed up by wisdom and compassion. In fact, the union of wisdom and compassion is the essence of Buddhism. It is ultimately what to be learned and practiced in Buddhism. What about burning incense, performing prostrations, reciting sutras, and the like? Do these activities signify the process of learning Buddhism? Yes, they are part of that process, but certainly not the main part.